Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today, if you hadn't already guessed by the title, we are doing an 11 from Stranger Things Halloween makeup tutorial, and I will apologise for my attempt at a costume, but like I don't own anything pink and I've had to steal this vest from like my mum and I've just chucked on like an old denim jacket. You could totally get a pink dress if you wanted to, and I've just got my hair tied back really tightly. But you could go ahead and use a wig or whatever, but today I'm just going to be focusing on the makeup part of it. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. You don't necessarily need a lot of products. I probably used too much stuff because I was just like trying to make it into a full tutorial. But I really hope you enjoy the video, and let's go ahead and get into it. You know when you don't own anything like vaguely similar to her outfit, so you just find a pink top and push it up really high and wear a denim jacket. I'm sorry, this is the best I can do. I'm not prepared to like do like a full-on cosplay today, but this is the closest we're going to get. I'm just going to start off with my Spackle Hydrating Moisturising Under Makeup Primer from Lorac. You don't want to use anything that's too like glowy, because that's not really the look we're going for here, so I'm just going for this just as like a plain base. And also another tip is don't have red fingernails, because she doesn't have red fingernails, but you know, that's my own fault. Okay, so I'm going to start off with brows, and I'm just going to brush the brow hairs up a little bit and just make them look a bit less like neat and a bit more natural looking. Okay, I'm going to take my Lorac PRO palette and I'm going to go into the shade Taupe to start off with, and maybe mix in a little bit of Sable. And I'm going to very, very gently fill the brows in, and I'm going to use a less precise brush actually, just to make them a bit more sort of natural looking. So I'm just going to use this Smashbox brow brush, which is a bit more sort of like feathered than some other brow brushes. And I'm just going to very lightly fill in the front a little bit more. You really don't want to overdo it here. I'm just sort of making them a little bit darker, but not much, and just keep it quite soft. If you've got a very high arched brow, you might want to bring it down a little bit. Her brows are a bit lower down than mine, which is kind of why I'm only filling in the front, to sort of give the illusion they're a bit lower down, and I don't want to shape them too much. Just add little bits here and there, and you can always, it's always easier to add a little bit rather than take a little bit away. You can just dot between two colours, one a bit darker, one a bit lighter. I'm just using a slightly more precise brow brush to just gently fill in the outside corner, because it's a bit more a little bit sharper there, not so much like as fluffy. Okay, now I'm going to take this Rimmel Match Perfection foundation in light porcelain and just do a really light wash of colour. And I'm actually going to be applying this with my beauty blender instead of a brush. This is more to just pale me up a little bit rather than give too much coverage. I'm just going to sort of cover up my little sort of like scar that I've got there and up here. And you don't want to focus the foundation under the eyes, because I'm trying to sort of maintain, because I've got sort of you want to maintain like the veins on your eyelids as it is, because she kind of has those anyway, so you might as well just leave them there. I'm just putting this mostly on the cheeks to get rid of any like redness, and to just make me look a bit more pasty and pale. Okay, I'm not going to actually powder the skin, because that foundation has a fairly dried down finish anyway, and I really don't want there to be like a powdery look to the skin. I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of my concealer. I'm going to use the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer in the shade Fair, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of this on my nose to highlight it, and I'm just going to cover up any little blemishes as well. And I'm just going to blend that out with my beauty blender. Okay, now I'm going to get in with this very, very fair contour stick from Collection. Yeah, this is in the shade Light, and I'm going to try and create sort of more sunken look to the skin and lightly contour the nose, and then I'm going to blend it out with a brush. I'm only putting on a very light amount of this, and I'm not trying to make it too specific either, just slimming down my nose a little bit, because I've got a slightly wider nose, and just adding a little bit of like the sort of sunken look to the cheeks. I'm just blending the contour just onto here just to make my nose look a bit more sort of upturned, and I'm making sure to blend into the corners of the eyes as well. Okay, so I've just put on a little bit of the Makeup Forever Sculpting blush, but it was a little bit too dark, so I'm just blending back over it with my beauty blender. You only want to put a tiny little bit of this on. Yeah, it's a very small amount. And I'm just going to go in with the Becca Shimmery Skin Perfector in Opal. And this isn't so much a highlight area, it is more sort of just like, gives like a slightly wet look to the skin. This is like a very subtle sheen. I actually don't really like this that much, but I keep it around just for something like this, very subtle. It's got no shimmer, barely any colour to it. It just gives sort of more like, just makes the skin look a little bit more awake if you put sort of a foundation on. So this is really good if you want to do an incredibly natural highlight for something like this, where you're sort of changing your features a little bit and you don't want it to look very, you know, you want it to look a bit more realistic. So I'm just popping a little bit of this on. But it's not really super reflective. Like I said, it's more like a wet look, to be honest. Okay, now I'm going back into my Lorac Pro. I'm going to take this mauve shade on this Morphe E30 brush, and I'm going in gently and sort of coating the whole brush, and I'm going to very lightly run this across my lid. I'm also going to put a bit of this on the inner corner of my eye, and then I'm also going to add it underneath, and you can just follow the sort of natural contours of your own eyes and go slowly and don't add too much, because you don't want to look too like, oh, I've been punched in the eyes. It's more like a very subtle sort of look. You can blend the edges out with your fingers because you're only using one shade, and that can look a bit more natural anyway, because you don't want there to be any harsh lines. And it's okay if one side's different to the other, because that's, you know, always looks a bit more realistic. You can also mix in a bit of the brown shades if you want, depending on your skin tone. But it's sort of just creating a sort of strained look to the eyes, I suppose. And I'm just bringing the brown colour down to sort of blend and tapping it out. Also in this, like, the part that I'm copying, like, you know, the sort of typical bit, if you search 11 Stranger Things, this will be like the first picture that pops up is when she sort of like rescues them. She's been in like the dirt and the mud, so there's like parts like of like mud around her face. You can do as much or as little of that if you wanted to, but I'm going to do a little bit using this brown shade Sable, and probably mix in a little bit of taupe as well, and just create some sort of like dirty pattern around the face. You could also put some on your neck or on your hands if you wanted to. It's up to you. Sorry if the camera angles just changed slightly, it went all weird. I'm actually going to use my fingers to do this with, just because I think it will give a more realistic look. There we go. You could always add a little bit more or a little bit less, it's up to you. I'm just going to quickly go and curl my eyelashes. I just noticed she's got like a slight bit of definition to the chin. So I'm just going to take my contour stick and add that in as well. I'm just going to blend that out with my finger. Okay, yeah, so I've just curled my lashes. I'm going to take the Laura Glam Lash Dramatic Volumizing Mascara, and I'm literally just going to put like one sweep of this on, like a really small amount. Okay, I'm now going to take the Tarte's Lip Paint in the shade TBT, and I'm not going to use this full coverage at all, but it's like sort of like a rosy colour, and in this scene they sort of look like a sort of a rosy shade. I'm going to put like a tiny bit on and then just like blend it throughout my lips so it looks more natural. And even that is like a little bit dark, so I'm just going to blend back over my lips with my beauty blender. So I've just gone back and looked at my reference photo. I'm just going to take a bit more of taupe and Sable again and put them right under my eye, right, focusing on the outer corner. Yeah, it's important to always check back with your reference picture, because sometimes there might have been something that you've missed. So use the time here to sort of check back on your reference photo and just make sure you've got things accurate. And she's got a bit more definition to her lips than I do, so I'm just going to take this Makeup Revolution lip liner in Noble and just add like a line down the centre. Okay, now for the fun part, I'm going to take this fake blood. This is just from Asda. You can use any fake blood you want to. And I'm just going to create the drips going down the face. I'm going to start off just straight from the bottle, and then I'm going to use a brush to just sort of adjust it if I need to. I actually scratched that and putting it on my hand first because I tried to do it and it was more difficult than I thought it would be. So I'm just taking a brush instead. This tickles so bad. I want to sneeze so bad. Oh my god. Literally, just be careful. Don't put it too far in your nose. And also, don't sneeze. That's my only tip here. This brush had like a little bit of black left on it, which is why I used it. Just to give a bit more of a shadow on the very inner part of the nose. Okay, so we are done with this makeup tutorial. It was quite a simple one. This would be a fairly easy Halloween costume to do. Probably be a little bit harder even to do the outfit than like the makeup. The makeup's not too difficult at all. I feel like I look like I have a weird moustache with this. It's a very odd look. But yeah, if you have like long hair, all I've done here is like tied my hair really tightly back in like 2 separate hairbands and like pinned it back up. So from the front it looks alright, but like from the back you'd be able to see it. You could always use a bowl cap or you wear a really short wig if you wanted to. It's up to you. Or you could just wear the blonde wig that she wears for when they go into the school. It's totally up to you, but I really hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial. Please leave some comments down below and feel free to like the video, and if you like my channel, please don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thanks for watching. Bye.